Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. This is the first video in a series of things I wish I knew before I started playing Modern Warfare Zombies. In this video, we'll be featuring secret unique vehicles that you can find in the map, methods to get thousands of points in about 60 seconds, and I'll even throw a bonus tip in the end for a way to get a free ray gun every single game. If this sort of content's something you want to see me do more on the channel, then make sure to leave a like, and with that done, we can get started. So I mentioned there is a unique vehicle on the map. This thing is extremely hard to find, and you will absolutely never come across it if you're only exploring the tier 1 zone. So this is a real incentive to push into some of those higher threat zone areas to pick up this vehicle and take it for a spin. Its name is the Ether Bike, and it freaking talks to you, dude. You hop on this thing and it's like, yeah, mate, feed me those zombies. And if you think about getting off at any time, it's like, oi, what the frick do you think you're doing? Come back here, get back on me, and start feeding me again.
I say you can leave.
The bike has a special ability as well. So if you do keep feeding it zombies, number 1, it will auto-repair itself, which is insane. And number 2, if you kill enough zombies, it takes around 20 to 21 zombies to do this, you'll fill up your special meter in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, similar to your field upgrade, but instead of being your normal power, it will give you a pulse blast, which destroys any zombies in the area. The Ether Bike spawn is not fixed, but it's significantly more likely to be in tier 2 and above, and you can look for it on your mini-map by looking for this icon here. Now, I can't tell you how much time in my Modern Warfare Zombies matches I've wasted pack-a-punching instead of doing this next trick to get powerful much more quickly in every match I play. So the normal flow, right, what most people do is they spawn in, they do a couple contracts, they get their tier 1 pack, they do a couple more contracts, they grind to get that tier 2 pack, then maybe they head into the tier 2 zone, they do some more contracts, they maybe try and get tier 3, maybe they just don't have time, and then they XFill. But I'm telling you, you can literally save about 30 minutes of playtime doing this trick instead. So if possible, you don't have to do this, but if possible, you spawn in by crafting a stamina up can for yourself and using one of your ether tools. Could be a green one, a blue one is ideal, I'd say, just to get you that power spike at the beginning of your match. But you spawn in with those things. You do maximum like 2 contracts in tier 1, like the fastest ones you can find. And that's going to get you up to the 5,000 points mark. Then you're going to hop on a nimble vehicle. So you don't want a massive truck. You want something like one of the small sedans or an ATV. And you're going to drive all the way into tier 3 and you're going to look for a gold wall weapon on the wall. That gold rarity weapon is going to cost 5,000 points. So you're going to buy it straight away. And instantly in your match, that's going to be more powerful than if you had pack-a-punched with those 5k points. So much more powerful. It's going to mean that you can do higher tier contracts sooner, start earning more money from them sooner because higher tier contracts earn you more. And it's also going to mean that your next power boost is not going to come from a 15,000 point upgrade like tier 3 pack, but instead it's going to come from single tier pack, and that's only 5 grand. So you only need 5 more grand in order to get there. It's so much better a way of doing things. I promise you, give it a go a couple times just to get used to the flow and thank me later. Hey, subscribe if it's useful. Do something like that. The next one is something the DMZ players are probably going to know. So if you're a DMZ player and you're like, I've been there, I've done that, I've got this tip figured out already 12 months ago, then salute. I respect that. But for those of us that are classic zombies players, this might be new information. So when you're exfilling, normally what you do is you get inside the chopper and then the chopper leaves. Pretty straightforward, right? But if you're scrambling to get there just as that timer's ending, or maybe the inside of the chopper is full of fire from a Molotov or something, or it's just too stressful, you can actually get on the side of the XFill chopper and XFill there, and it will still grant you all your normal XFill bonuses. You'll still get your XP, you'll still save your weapons, etc. So that's just a good pro tip to have in the back of your mind. And now to sort of reverse Uno the situation, I've got a tip that DMZ players are much less likely to know, but classic zombies fans are much more likely to know, okay? So in the game, you've got a handful of different field upgrades, and you unlock them as you progress through the levels. One of the ones that you're going to get is Healing Aura, which sounds kind of weak, to be honest, because it just heals you and then it takes ages to recharge, and it's like, okay, what's the big deal, right? However, Healing Aura is actually really strong because it can insta-revive downed teammates that are within a certain radius of you. And so if you're partying up with some friends and one of them goes down, you don't even have to know where they are necessarily. As long as they're somewhere in your vicinity, you can hit that field upgrade and boom, they're up again straight away. So be a good friend and don't sleep on Healing Aura. And speaking of being a good friend, in fact, fact, speaking of being the best friend, there's a trick you can do in the game to actually spawn in man's best friend and have him follow you around and help you out and even revive you when you're downed inside the game. It's super simple, and it all starts with you using explosives. So if you've got Semtex, or even better, if you have a grenade launcher, like you can just spawn in with it as your insured weapon. That makes life super easy here, as long as you don't accidentally down yourself. But you need an explosive weapon, and you're going to find a clump of zombies, use the explosives on them, and after a couple of tries, you should find that the zombies drop a blue item called Chunk of Meat. You might have actually already seen these in your match and been like, what the hell's the point in this meat? Like, it's blue, it's kind of rare, but where does it go, or what do I do with it? Can I eat it? And it turns out, no, we're not going to be the ones eating it, and nor are the zombies for that matter. We're actually going to be taking it to a dog kennel. So have a little roam around the map and look for this icon, which won't be there when you're on the fully zoomed out map, by the way. You will have to roam and be in close proximity to it in order for it to appear, but you can find them all over the place. Like, they're not too rare. And so you want to go to that dog kennel once you've grabbed yourself a couple of pieces of meat or pieces of flesh. I think that the ideal number is 3, personally. So grab 3 chunks of flesh, walk up to the kennel, and hold square to open it up. And you can then deposit the 3 chunks of flesh inside it. Then close the kennel's inventory, and the dog will spawn in next to you. It will have a custom name, and it will start following you around. It's a handy tip if you're a solo player and you just need a companion to help revive you and things like that. And it's really easy to do. So it's something I really recommend doing in your matches. Next is a tip for leveling up faster. So all of us are on the camo grind. All of us want to get those levels maxed out so that we can just get started on the camos, etc. But there's a way to do this faster that doesn't require any change to your playstyle, really. It just requires you to do a little bit of forward planning when you're in the game's menus. So when you're selecting which gun you're going to spawn in with in your insured slot or just from your contraband, this little fire icon is called an XP recommended weapon, and that means that it grants you more XP if you use it. And the fire icon will rotate across different weapons on different days, so be sure to make the most of whatever weapon you're working on being XP recommended when it comes up in rotation. A tip that's super quick that you can implement in your matches is when you're driving around and your car starts spinning out and it's really awkward. It turns out that that might be because your tire is broken, right? And you don't have to just live with that. You can actually just hop out of the car, go to the tire that has popped, and hold square on the tire to repair it, and your vehicle will be ready to drive again. Now, something I know some of you have definitely been finding tricky is clearing those infected strongholds, especially in tier 2 and tier 3, because a lot of the time it feels like there's just one spore in there somewhere that you can't find, and then it ends up being in like an adjacent building that you couldn't even access via the main entrance of the one you were exploring, and you're like, come on, bro, that's cheating. But in that case, in those scenarios, use this tip to make your life infinitely easier and to just get those strongholds cleared pretty much straight away. It's a real simple one. It's just using depth perception, because depth perception highlights every single spore inside the stronghold, so you can zip around, use them all, and zip out, and it'll be easy peasy. And it gets even easier, honestly, if you do that while you're ether shrouded, because then you can literally just nip in, get them all, nip out, and you don't even have to break a sweat. It's amazing. The next tip is something that old school zombies players might know, but I actually spoke to a friend called Talixian the other day. He's been playing since World at War, and he'd forgotten this was a thing because it hadn't been a thing for so long. So the Wunderwaffe, right? The Wunderwaffe. That wonder weapon, we all know it's crazy strong. It's lightning that chains between zombies. It's OP, and it looks sick as well. Like, it's a gorgeous looking weapon. But what some people don't know, or they've just forgotten because it's like old school zombies lore, is that you don't actually have to hit the zombies with the waff in order for it to chain lightning between them. So as you can see here, I've got my Wunderwaffe, and I'm shooting it at the ground, and it's still chaining to the zombies. And it just means that if I'm aiming at a zombie and I miss it, and my shot goes flying and it doesn't kill any zombies, that could put me in a really bad position. But if I just aim at the floor, I know for a fact it's going to get that zombie every single time. Like, there's no room for error there. And so it just makes you a little bit more consistent with that wonder weapon. Now, this next one is a trick that you can use to get loads of money insanely quickly. So when you're running around the map, have you ever found these little jump pads? They're really useful for just getting back around, redeploying, all that sort of stuff. Like, that is definitely a big benefit of using them. But there's another trick that I don't see anyone really doing when I'm watching streams and stuff that I think you really should be doing, because it will just save you so much time. Like, you could do an entire contract, or you could just do this in 60 seconds. So when you're skydiving down from one of those redeployments, you're going to want to look around for an essence canister that's just floating in the sky. Float over to it and grab it, and then look around for the next one that will be somewhere in your vicinity just below you. And you can chain these together and get thousands of points from doing it super duper fast. And there are a bunch of these areas around the map that that you can find as you roam. It doesn't hurt to just jump up there real quick and get all those points pretty much instantly. Now, finally, I mentioned there was a method to get a free ray gun, right? And this one's very simple. Once you've used all the previous points in this video, all those previous tips, you need to get geared up so you're strong enough to complete a tier 3 contract. And then you're going to go into that tier 3 zone, grab that contract, complete it, and I recommend the escort for this one. I think that that's probably the best one. But you're going to do that, and after a couple of attempts, you're going to get a ray gun schematic. If you get it, XFill with it straight away. Don't mess about doing anything else in your match. XFill instantly, and then in the game's menus, you'll be able to craft a ray gun every couple of days and spawn in with it whenever you want. It's a free ray gun literally whenever. So have fun with this, and click the link on screen right now to even more tips so you can flex on your friends and really graduate to becoming a true expert player in Modern Warfare Zombies. I'll see you there.